Hi, I'm going to do a short demo today on how I paint these glass bottles. I'm painting this bottle. It's a green bottle, so I'm base coating it in some hard pastel, which in this case is NuPastel, and I'm working on UArt 400 pastel paper. I'm neatening up my edges with pastel pencils as I go, so I'm just loosely putting in a base coat of color. I couldn't find the exact color that I wanted, so I was using two different colors to mix together, and you can see I'm just kind of getting them in there, not being super neat because I'm going to blend these colors together. So I put my gloves on, and now I'm rubbing really hard, and it's important to wear gloves because if you don't, you'll lose the skin on your fingertips. So I'm rubbing it into the paper and blending it together, the two colors. And now I'm neatening up my edges a little bit more, getting some of the areas I didn't quite fill in. Now I'm using a dark green NuPastel to add the darks to my painting. I'm following my photo reference. And because I'm filming over my shoulder, the painting is not completely square in your view screen. But I am putting in the darks that I see in my photo reference with, actually the color is bottle green, $2.99. I could also use some black, and I may add some later. So I'm working the shapes out. I'm just drawing them in as I see them and blending them with my fingers. And neatening up that edge. Used my little stiff brush to brush out an edge that wasn't right. So I'm always wanting to keep my edges correct and to keep them square. Changing the perspective if I need to. So I'm adding some dark shapes down at the bottom. I draw them in generally, and then I just blend them with my fingers. So we're going to work from dark to light. So we're base coating, and then we're going to work from dark to light. So this is a larger area of reflection. I love painting these bottles because they pick up colors from everything that's close by. Still working with the bottle green. Now this, I've switched now to spruce blue, which is a navy blue color, because the reflection on this side is blue. It's picking up the blue from the blue bottle that's going to be behind it. Back to the green. And that's the stem as it reflects down into the glass. Now there's some red. The red is coming from the bottle that's directly behind and from the roses that are in the bottle. I could also, in this stage, I could use Rembrandt pastels, which are fairly hard, to add base coats and shadows. They would work very well. Neatening up the edges again, the little gray pastel where the flower petal meets the background. Blending again. Now I've switched to Unisons. Unison pastels are softer. So now I'm adding a warm green in a middle value in my bottle. Going back to adding some more darks. Sometimes I lose the darks and I need to go back and add them in. I also use NuPastels in small areas where I can't reach with my Unisons, which are kind of clunky. So I'm adding some light colors with the NuPastel. Now I'm switching back to the Unisons. Back to that warm green. I add it everywhere I see it. This is a little bit darker green, also Unison. I don't think I've gotten things quite dark enough, so I'm going to add some more darks. Adding some dark into that large shape. I realize it looks really strange at this point, kind of abstract. It takes me almost an entire day working to do one bottle. Now I've got a lighter, more yellow-green color that I'm putting into my bottle, right in this middle area where I see it. This one is also a yellow-green, but it's a little darker in color, more medium value. Using a middle value green down in the bottom. And just keep adjusting it as I go along. I add some more darks or lights. This is a cooler value of green that I can see down in the bottom. Probably comes from the reflection, maybe from the blue bottle that's nearby. I'm not really sure, but it is cooler. So I wanted to switch greens, use a cooler one. Now I'm going lighter, the yellow-green. I'll keep adjusting the values as I go along until I get to the very end where I add the highlights. I think ideally you shouldn't have to add any darks back in, but I don't always get it right the first time, and I feel like it needs some more, so I add it. I'm using NuPastel Black here to get this one really, really dark. Still using NuPastel Black. That's better. It's getting nice and dark. Now I'm using a yellow-orange to really brighten up the reflection. I believe that comes from the amber bottle sitting next to the green bottle. So I'm using a couple of different golden colors to bring those into the green bottle. Adding a little blue. And maybe that's coming from the background bottle. That's why I love painting these bottles. There's so many different reflections and colors that they come from each other as they're bounced about by the light. It's truly beautiful. It's very relaxing. Sometimes I turn the board upside down to paint. It disconnects my mind from what I'm doing, and I'm able to see the shapes better. Now I'm using a tiny piece of Giraud dark red to add some reds in. Some darker reds, I should say. Here again is the NuPastel Black to really get the dark. That's a dark blue. I believe it's a Rembrandt. That is a pale gray, cleaning up the edge of that bottle as it intersects the bottle behind it. Putting a little purple in to put the background back in on that bottle. Redefining my shapes, adding a little more light. Be sure and leave your comments about this video, things that you'd like to see or questions that you might have. Again, using Unison to add more dark. Unison is a wonderful product. I'm really enjoying using them. I've also started using them in the backgrounds on my velour paintings. I'm using blue greens and dark greens. Now we're coming to the end of it. I hope that you will go to my new website at kwit.com and take a look there. Here's the finished bottle with the highlights added. Join me again next time.